So, have you ever wondered why the world is so angry, especially now? Everyone's just so angry everywhere, and it's not
I
just
just attributed it to anxiety.
Yes.
But, that doesn't always produce anger. So then I was thinking there's just so much more anger than anxiety would produce. Yeah. And so I think there is a realization or a reckoning type
Right.
of anger,
So,
I feel.
Angrynomics looks at why people are so angry from an economic standpoint or from an economic point of view.
Angrynomics.
And so let's take a look at this video because it's really eye-opening and explains a lot why the world is so angry.
According to an economist.
Angrynomics is what happens when the economy becomes a rigged game. People are not stupid. Their own life experiences tell them that they're working harder for less and less, and in increasingly precarious times. Meanwhile, they're told by those who have done the best that on average, we have all never been richer. The problem is, no one lives on an average. If Jeff Bezos walked into a bar, on average, everyone in the bar would now be a billionaire, except that they're not. In fact, unlike most of us, those that have done well over the past 20 years, the top 20% of the population, have done astonishingly well. And they are not shy about telling everyone else how we should live and what we should value. Their values included endless wars and bountiful bailouts for their investments, all the while telling you that there was never enough money for what you cared about. Indeed, the decade from 2008 to 2018 was basically socialism for the rich and capitalism for the poor, a policy combination that COVID-19 has exacerbated. In response, people first grew apathetic and withdrew from politics. But after a while, they started to get angry. The rise of populist politics was one version of this anger, as with the...
Okay, so basically what he's saying was people were getting angry because economics were only benefiting the super rich. And so the average of economic output grew, but then for the average person, it stayed the same or got worse.
Yes.
And so that's why people
Slowly getting
initially, he's saying people initially disengaged from politics, but then now they're coming back and are trying to get involved in a way because they don't see any other outlet for change. And so he's saying populist policies are now becoming very popular worldwide.
Yes,
because of this
they're the
because
ones that can change the economy,
right, because,
and the rules that make the economy.
Right, because worldwide the economy is only benefiting the already super rich, and it's like
Well, they're the ones that have the money to make the lobbies, and they're the ones that actually own the corporations that are.
But that's the realization
affecting change in our legislation. Like
that's a realization people I think only have is they think their anger is local when it's actually global. It's like not just the 99% in America; it's 99% in the world. Feel angry.
Well, our global economy.
Exactly. It's because of our global economy.
None of our stuff comes from, like, how many people can say we get all our stuff locally?
Yeah.
Like, we can't even say we get all our stuff in the same from the same country. Like, but
let's keep going with this.
Politics was one version of this anger, as with the citizens' revolt seen in France's Yellow Jackets, Spain's Indignados, Hong Kong's democracy protesters, in the anti-racism protests seen worldwide, and in the COVID-19 lockdown protests. Anger over
Everyone's
the economy
outside.
takes several forms. There is public anger, which we see in the form of claims to moral outrage. There is tribal anger, which politicians weaponize for their own end. There's private anger too, generated by the ways that our bodies and minds are increasingly stressed out by what the economy demands of us, especially as we get older and become more vulnerable to technological change.
so yeah,
basically,
that's me.
Yeah, basically what he's saying is all of the anger that we feel, whether it's in politics or like online or from our like the stress and anxiety from our job, it all traces back to economics. And the capitalism that we see is really it's putting so much stress on the working class that like everyone's outside protesting because they don't know what else to do. Like that's what's happening, and it's worldwide.
Things to protest. Yeah.
Okay, so what's the solution? Mark Blyth and Angrynomics pointed out the problem, but he also points out a solution, and it's a very elegant, simple solution.
When did this book come out?
About 2 months ago.
Is it so? It wouldn't be on like audiobooks?
Maybe.
How fast do audiobooks come out?
As soon as they record. Okay, let's go to what the solution
Maybe
is
I need to read the book
with Mark Blyth on Jimmy Dore. Yeah, we should.
So what can countries do in less than brilliant circumstances?
Number one, everybody should have what we call a citizens' wealth fund. Every time there's a huge screw up like this in the financial sector, investors dump all of their equities. What do they want to buy? That terrible thing called government debt. Because it turns out it's basically rich people's money. It's basically as good as cash, but it has a positive return. These days, long term is negative, which works in our advantage. Now, what does this mean? We could issue 20% extra of GDP in bonds and have all of them bought at basically no cost to us at a negative real rate. We take all the cash and then we take all of the equities that have been dumped by all these investors and we buy them on behalf of the people. We then put them into a completely passive, professionally managed, hands-off Congress fund. And then you just ride what's called the equity premium, which is 4 to 6% a year, compounded over a decade. 20% of US GDP is $4 trillion. If you grew $4 trillion at 6% a year compounded, you could take out all the student loan debt. You could do a green transition, and you could make a hell of a dent in inequality across every metric, and it wouldn't have cost a cent in taxes.
So what you basically do is you create an investment fund for regular people, and if you can get you at 6% of GDP, that's a lot of money. And so then we would be able to finance all the social programs from now until kingdom come if we did.
If we did that, is what he's saying.
If we did that.
So what they're saying is, what happens when we see a financial crash like this? Investors take their money out of the risky objects, which are like stocks and like the bond market, and they start buying treasury bonds, which is government debt. They're going to give money to the government because the government never defaults on its bonds, and you get a return. And so what Mark Blyth's solution is make 20% more bonds to sell them. And that'll be $4 trillion. With that $4 trillion, go buy all the assets in the market and ETFs. And then 6% of that compounded over 10 years would pay for all the social programs that we need to get the middle class like back up and going. So you can forgive student debt. That would be paid through the 6% interest. So it costs taxpayers zero money because we already know the government can make as many bonds and sell as many as they want.
They keep doing that.
Right. They've done it. They did trillions already this year alone.
They're using it to buy up what right now?
Right.
Mortgage-backed securities.
Right. So from an economist's point of view,
shorting that.
that's the solution. It's elegant. It's simple. It doesn't cost us any money, and we can, we'll have the money to pay for all the social programs until kingdom come, like Jimmy Dore said. So the question then is, why aren't we doing it? And so again, Mark Blyth has the answer. Why can't we do this?
So what is the impediment to doing this then?
None. There is literally none. There is only a lack of political will. You want to know what the thing is? Really, at the end of the day, the Wall Street crowd don't want this because at the end of the day, it means everybody else gets to share in the wealth. It also means that you might make their portfolio allocation a bit more complex because you're a big player in their market as well. But the other one is the mentality of the Democrats. When you've got people like Pelosi and even Biden referring to PAYGO again.
Haha.
Oh my God, PAYGO, right? How could you fund anything? How could you fund a Christmas party when you've got PAYGO? Yeah, it doesn't seem bother the Republicans. Like, there's never a question of like, the military needs another $1 trillion for X, right? Let's go see if we can find a PAYGO for it. That never happens. But anything that we actually want, PAYGO, lockbox.
And so if people don't understand what PAYGO means, it means if you have any new programs that you want to institute, anything that helps people like a healthcare program or a student debt relief or anything, a jobs program, whatever it may be, that you first have to raise the revenue for it or you have to cut in the budget somewhere else. You can't ever raise the debt, which is ridiculous because they just gave $5 trillion to the richest oligarchs in the country without paying for it. And that just proves Stephanie Kelton's point of modern monetary theory that the budget has no relationship to the amount of tax revenue we generate.
You can see.
Yeah, so basically what they're saying is, why can't we do this or why aren't we doing this? And so he initially points out Wall Street doesn't want this because you're going to put more players in the market that they already, that they want for themselves because, their capital gains are so fat. And even from a political standpoint, no one is taking this up without the argument, how are we going to pay for this? Without, raising taxes or raising the deficit. Like, they don't want they don't want to raise debt to help people. They don't want to do anything to help people, even like the easiest economic things. I mean,
people are supposed to help themselves.
So
I guess.
I just wanted to end this video with why or what Angrynomics is all about, because this book looks really interesting. I definitely want to pick it up and read it, and so maybe we'll do a book review. It's like school.
You call it Angrynomics. So explain what that's about.
So just for the past 30 years, I mean, just look around just now at the country we live in, Jimmy. I don't think I've ever seen this place more pissed off. I don't think I've ever seen people so angry. And you can talk about the effect of social media and this, that, and the next thing. But you know what? Germans are pretty angry. The Chileans, just before
aren't they always angry?
COVID, they were furious. They were having riots over inequality. People in Hong Kong are pretty angry. The Yellow Jackets in France are pretty angry.
They should
so
be.
What's been going on? And this is stuff that we've spoken about before. We've had a 30-year period of growth where there's been all the returns have gone to the top. It's been captured by an elite. That elite has basically ran politics to their own ends. And that disjuncture between the economy is doing great, everything's going fine, and the lived experience of ordinary people, that's just no longer tenable. That's what Brexit was about. That's what Trump was all about in its inception, right? Where it's gone now is an entirely different thing. But what was driving everything, the Yellow Jackets in France, Brexit, the whole lot, was just this notion that you've been selling us a bill of goods for ages. When you had Senator Clinton turning up in the bits of the Midwest that she deigned to go to, celebrating Obama's legacy and saying, hey, unemployment's at 4%, it was forgetting that wages in those counties that she visited were basically just above minimum wage.
Yes.
So these were formerly prosperous areas that have been on the down for around 30 years. And you can tell that story right across the developed world. So part of the book is telling us how we got there, why we're so angry, and then the last part, as we were talking about, was the solutions.
Wow, so that's interesting. He says basically the reason why everyone got angry at the same time is because there was like this almost global realization, like, hey, the thing that you were selling me is not working. And so that's why Brexit happened. That's why Trump happened. It's because desperate people.
Not only is it not working, it's you did what you said you were going to do, but you did it for the wrong people.
Well, but people are
because
so...
it's like you were supposed to deregulate, or you were supposed to help the small businesses. In fact, you just helped the big business. There's a big difference between small business and big business, and that's another thing that people don't.
But
there's
people
a huge disconnect.
Are so desperate for change, like in Hong Kong and in France and Germany, in the United States, like everywhere. And so Angrynomics. It looks like a really good look at why this is happening, and the solution.
This was supposed to be a real game, but it's just a carnival,
right?
It's a carnival game, ugh.
And it's like, oh, you know what the solution could be is to help people, and you could do that with the Citizens Monetary Fund. Seems like It seems like a win-win.
But they don't tell us of these things, maybe.
I know, but that's why, like the
things.
ACLU,
Boring.
We need to demand it.
Oh, I know. For the people. For the people, by the people. What happened to that representation? Got bought out. They sold out.
Yeah, they gave us Joe
Biden. Out, little peoples.
All right, well, that's it for me. Did you have anything else you wanted to add? It's Angrynomics.
A warning to some people that, because this last year through this pandemic, I received 2 letters signed by Donald Trump, about giving me money, and I got direct deposits from the government.
It's neck and neck, definitely.
People keep saying, "Oh, it's in the bag. It's in the bag." I'm like, really? Y'all said that? I don't know. Maybe I'm just stuck in a weird cycle because I got kids.
Well, the weird thing
driving
is,
me crazy.
If Biden doesn't do anything economically different than Obama did, then what can we expect in 4 to 8 years? Something worse than Trump, right?
How long have we had Pelosi?
No. So if we're
and
gonna,
Pelosi,
if they're
how
trying,
much damage has she done?
If they're trying to get us back to what gave us Trump, then what's gonna come after? It's like, imagine if Alex Jones became president, like that.
Yeah, it's just gonna swing. It's just gonna get uglier. Might as well just
there has to be a solution for angry people. That's the thing. If you
both of them keep wanting to go back to a pre, it's like, what? That's what got us here. Why do you want to go back to the pre?
Yeah, no. If you don't address the angry people, things are just gonna get worse.
They're like, I'm the only one that's angry. I'm like, really? They don't see, most of those people don't see the actual poor, angry people.
Yeah, like politicians.
They don't hear them. There's such a disconnect.
It just seems like no matter
you have to show
who we
up on the
elect,
door with
things
guns.
are going to get worse.
I mean, I'm not suggesting anything like that, but no.
All right, we got to go. All right. Thank you, everyone.
The politicians that are getting in trouble because protesters are up there, and so they're
No, but I'm saying Biden's not going to implement any economic policy that's different. And so people are just going to stay angry no matter who's elected.
And then what?
And things are just going to,
How is
like,
that
you
gonna-
either demand change or, you know,
You think he's gonna win?
it doesn't matter who wins.
it is
People are going to
true.
get angrier. That's the point. None of them are addressing the anger in a way that's actually significant. They're all just addressing the culture of the anger. They're not
They
actually.
see it or feel it. I guess
That's the thing. If they
it's
don't
like
see it or
the
feel it,
disconnect I see with people who only have heard of Black culture through like the music.
yeah, but
and
if you don't
stuff,
feel
but
the
they don't
heat and things are getting hotter,
understand
what's going to
what's
happen?
being said or the anger. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to get worse either way, and unless they address the anger economically, not the culture of the anger. They're just addressing culture, and it doesn't do
Infuriating.
any good.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it just makes people angrier.
You're just fanning the flames. You're just fanning the damn flames.
All right, this one became a rant, but I guess it's good to have a discussion. Anyways, if you want to chill out, don't forget to smoke your coronavirus prevention infection medicine, and if you don't have buds, we're your buds. Leave a like and subscribe if you like this video, and
Maybe
let
this
us
is why they don't like watching Door sometimes.
let us know in
It's
the
too
comments.
incendiary.
I know that's why I try
I
to
was like, okay, fine.
cut the.
Now what are
clips.
we gonna do?
No, I know. That's why Mark Blyth, he has an answer. And that's why I wanted to cover this clip. The answer is simple. Citizens Monetary Fund. Let's see it happen. If Edward Snowden can get a pass from the courts, I think anything can happen. I choose to believe. All right. See you guys in the next video. Take care.
Our government works. We hope.
Sometimes.
We hope.
If you're really white.